Okay, so good morning everyone. I'm sorry for the delay. There was some technical glitch. So good morning. My name is Lalit Soni and I welcome you all in this live session by Drishti IAS, and as usual we'll be discussing Indian Express newspaper. So there are certain important articles which can be important from your prelims examination as well as mains examination. So we will discuss these articles, and then we will move forward with the practice question for you and then wrap up the session. Okay, so here we'll be discussing 3-4 things here. First is prostate cancer cases rises in India, and overall if we see at the global level as well, they are rising. So we will be seeing what are the reason, and we'll see what is the diagnosis, etc. Okay, then NCERT, CBSE, they are trying to bring some changes. Okay, that has been happening since 2014. There are different 3 to 4 times they have gone for the changes, and recently for the 2024-25 session they are also making some changes, and CBSE is also trying to make some tweaks in the examination patterns as well. Okay, so we will actually have a look at that. Then excise duty on industrial alcohol. So there is this case which has come up in front of Supreme Court of India, and that is talking about on a very foundational question, that on the excise duty on industrial alcohol, who has the rights, like center can make law on this or state can make law on this. So we'll be talking about that in that regard. Okay, then around the world we will see there is not much going on in that respect, but we will see the world page and then further the practice question. So let's start with the practice question which was given to you in the last class. So here, which Harappan site is known for mass burial of nearly 500 skeletons? Okay, so they are talking about 500 skeletons. So recently we have talked about this particular thing. There is this particular place that is known as Juna Khatia. Okay, so over there was a discovery or excavation of 500 burials in 2018. Okay, so and recently there was this particular place in Gujarat, Kutch, wherein they have come up with another grave that is of a person with some animal bones, etc., and some other stuff. Okay, and that particular grave is in the vicinity of that Juna Khatia, 16 kilometers away from that, and we have discussed this thing. I would want you to give the name in the comment section, because yesterday we have discussed that particular place. Okay, so in that regard, this important thing, that is 500 skeletons were found in Juna Khatia, was in news. So here you can see option D would be a right answer. When we are talking about Rakhi Gadi, you know that this place is in Haryana. Okay, and it was famous for a grave of a couple. Okay, so that is another thing. Other Harappan and Kalibanga you know very well, so I don't have to go into details of that. Just please remember these two sites over here. Okay, now we can move forward with the first article of the day, that is related to your prostate cancer cases in India. They are actually set to double by 2040. So we are saying that there will be a rise in the burden of the prostate cancer. Recently we have seen that world over there such trends are there, there is a rise in the prostate cancer. Now we will be discussing all these things. Before that, I would like to tell you the numbers. Okay, so here you can see prostate cancers account for 3% of all cancers in India. Okay, so that is one thing, 3% of all cancers in India they are talking about. Okay, and nearly 33,000 to 42,000 new cases diagnosed annually. Okay, so that is a huge burden on India. Then a large proportion of patients in India are diagnosed in the advanced stages, which means that the cancer has spread at the time of diagnosis. As a result, 65% of the patients are dying. So now here you can see that they are actually these cancers are being detected at a very later stage, or you can say at an advanced stage, wherein cancer has already spread. Okay, now because of which, since it is already on the advanced stage, there are very less things you can do about it, and there are high chances that that person is going to they will not survive. Okay, so nearly 65% people are dying. Now what is the reason behind it, why we are going for a diagnosis at a later stage? Because when we are talking about this prostate cancer, the symptoms are not visible for a long time, even if there is early symptoms, but we do not consider them as a big thing, and that is why this particular thing actually reaches up to advanced level. And in the advanced level there will be unbearable pain, and because of which you will go for diagnosis, and then you will realize that there is prostate cancer. Okay, so that is one reason because of which these cancers are being detected in the advanced stage. Okay, so because of which there is a death burden, or you can say fatality, which is high. As per the Lancet Commission, worldwide case of prostate cancer are projected to double from 1.4 million per year 2022 to 2.9 million per year by 2040. Okay, so we are saying that in these 2 decades, these number of cases will be doubling. Okay, with low and middle income countries predicted to see highest increase in cases. According to International Agency for Research on Cancer, projection by 2040, prostate cancer incidence in India will double to about 71,000 new cases per year. Right now, we are seeing some 33 to 42,000 cases per year. Now, they are saying that by 2040, we will be seeing 71,000 cases per year. These are the numbers, and because of this particular report, that is by Lancet Commission. Okay, and that is why we have taken this article. Now coming to the article per se, here you can see 64-year-old surgeon in Pune complained of backache, backache like lower back ache, and was diagnosed with the advanced stage of prostate cancer spread to his spine, yet he did not have any early symptoms. So that is the reason behind it, because there is no early symptoms, because of which we are not able to diagnose it. Okay, now being diagnosed in the later stage and succumbing to the disease, Lancet Commission paper has said that the prostate cancer incident in India to surge sharply by 2040. So which we have seen, and these data we have already seen. Okay, now when we are talking about this particular surge, this surge can be prevented by providing all men over 60 get tested early with some rigorous, or you can say rigor, that women are advised to do for the breast cancers. Okay, so basically what is happening here is this prostate cancer in male, there is this breast cancer problem in the female as well, and they are also advised to go for a particular test after a certain age of 40 years. So basically similar advice being given to the males, like you have to go for this particular test by, you can say, age of 60. Okay, now once there will be a test at the early stage, there are chances that you will be able to control the fatalities over here. Okay, this will pick up the cancer at treatable stage, and early detection and the education program will help in save lives. Okay, so this is another you can say suggestion, that you have to go for the early detection as well as the education drives awareness generation about this particular type of cancer. Okay, now coming to the certain things about this cancer, here you can see this is your human anatomy, and then there are certain body parts. When we are talking about kidneys, and in the lower parts of in the little bit south of the kidney, or you can say little below the kidney, there is a bladder. Okay, and under the bladder we will have this prostate glands. When we are talking about these prostate glands, and when we are talking about this particular cancer, what will happen is that in these glands there will be a, you can say, accumulation of a tumor, or you can say rise of extra cell growth over there. Okay, so this particular thing is called cancer. There will be a extra cell growth inside the prostate glands, and because of which there will be a cancer. Okay, now here you can see this type of cancer occurs when cells in the prostate gland becomes abnormal. There are often no early symptoms, but some men have urinary symptoms and discomforts. Okay, now coming to the symptoms of this particular disease, here you can say difficult or disturbed urine flow, frequent urination especially at nights, inability to empty the bladder completely, pain or burning while urination, and change in the bowel habits. Here you can see swelling or fluid buildup in the legs or feet, blood in urine or semen, pain in the back, hips, pelvis, painful ejaculations, and then unexplained weight loss. So these are certain symptoms, but again these symptoms are ignored by many people, and because of which at the later stage you will identify that these people are having cancer, and ultimately you cannot do anything about it when there is an advanced stage. Okay, so the way forward is that you have to go for early detection and the education drive, or you can say awareness drive. Next, here you can see certain things, preventive measures, that is early detection through screening programs for men over 60, similar to the breast cancer screening program which are there for the women over 40. Okay, early detection can significantly improve treatment outcomes and reduce the mortality rates, which we have already seen. Then risk factors. Okay, so there are certain factors because of which there are high chances that there will be an you can say cancer. That is, one is age, and there are certain things which are there in the genetics. Okay, so age and genetics are the primary cause. Other than that, there can be additional factors such as smoking, obesity, poor diet, and lifestyle contributing to rise in the cases. Okay, so these are certain causes because of which such cases can be there. Now, what is the diagnostic method? Before going to the diagnostic method, I would like to tell you this particular thing, that the WHO recommend that 1 megavolt radiotherapy unit per million. Okay, so when we are talking about the therapy, or you can say the treatment, there should be a radiotherapy, and WHO, World Health Organization, says that there should be a 1 megavolt radiotherapy instrument per million people. Okay, and when we are talking about India, that is not the case. We are still behind it. Other than that, when we see the recent development, we have seen that the government hospitals are having such machines because of the expenditure or various schemes which are run by the government, Ayushman Bharat, etc. But still the access to the poor people are still poor, or you can say access in the village area is not available. Okay, so that is one cause of concern. Now diagnostic methods, here you can say PSA tests are available, digital rectal examinations for early detection in high risk individuals, and along with MRI scanners. So these are certain way you can identify if you have a prostate cancer or not. And when we are talking about this therapy, that is the radiotherapy available for this, but in India still we are trying our best, but still there is some gap which we have to fill. Then when we are talking about the painkillers, or for the pain relief, there is this drug, that is opioid. Okay, but the thing is there is a severe pain in certain cases, and you cannot avail this drug because of we have very stringent laws related to the narcotics, etc. Because there are certain aspect of this particular drug wherein smugglers use this drug for various drug trafficking, etc., or misuse of the drug. So that is why there are stringent laws related to this particular drug, or you can say morphine, you must have heard. So that is why this is not readily available. But recently government is trying to do certain things about it. Here you can see an amendment to the Narcotics, Drugs and the Psychotropic Substance Act in 2014 improved opioid access, but there is a lag in the implementation across the country. Okay, so they have made an amendment, but there is also a lag in the implementation. So I hope this is clear. This is all about this prostate cancer, whatever is important from your exam point of view. Okay, so we will move forward with the next article. Hold on. Okay, now as I in the start of the class I have told you that NCERT and CBSE are basically going for some changes. Okay, so yesterday also we have gone through certain changes, and right now in the history there are certain things. You must have heard about this NCERT, that you can say post independence. History of post-independence India. Okay, so basically in that 12th class NCERT there is one change which has been mentioned, that revision after Supreme Court verdict, its welcoming reception in NCERT. So basically here you can see 3 Babri references out, Ayodhya section revised in class 12th new politics book. Okay, so here you can see the section on Ayodhya dispute in chapter in NCERT's 12th class political science textbook is said to have been revised to give primacy to the Ram Janmabhoomi movement, factoring the 2019 Supreme Court verdict. Okay, so basically what is happening, earlier they have referred it as, you can say, there is certain line I would like to tell you, that the original paragraph mentioning that the Babri Masjid demolition and its consequences. Okay, so earlier that was the heading which was given to it, and then which has been replaced with the focus on the Ram Janmabhoomi temple movement and its impact on Indian politics. Okay, so now this has been changed here. So here this is the 4th round of revision and updating NCERT textbook since 2014. The first round was in 2017 and was called a review and not a revision, and it is to actually cater to the needs of, or you can say, recent development which are happening in our politics. To impart all these in our education system, they have gone for such review and revision. Okay, need to update textbooks to reflect recent event and changes. Okay, so here what they have done is that particular line related to Babri Masjid, they have actually replaced it with the Ram Janmabhoomi temple issue and the Supreme Court verdict. Okay, since in 2019 there was this verdict, and which verdict has given led a pathway for the construction of the temple. So that is why they have changed it. Okay, and for some places this reference to the Babri Masjid was given 3 to 4 places, that has also been removed from there. Now Central Board of Secondary Education is actually trying to do certain changes which we will see. NCERT advises the union government on the school education, and it is the apex body when we are talking about certain things related to your curriculum, etc. Okay, now here you can see the revision of the chapter 8 in the textbook titled Politics in the India since Independence. Politics in India since independence has been altered to give more prominence to the Ram Janmabhoomi movement. Reference to the Babri Masjid demolition on December 6, 1992 have been removed from at least 3 places in the chapter. Update content now reflects 2019 Supreme Court verdict allowing the construction of the Ram temple. Okay, so basically this is the change they have made. This is not important for us, but still just keep a note of that. Now when we are talking about CBSE, and CBSE now is trying to tweak with the exam papers, or you can say exam patterns, exam paper patterns. So earlier what used to happen is that earlier there used to be this constructive answers, or you can say constructive questions over there. Now they are trying to replace it with a certain different type of you can say in which rote learning, or you can say just memorizing won't be helpful. You have to think logically. Okay, so here you can see CBSE has introduced change in the assessment and the evaluation to align with the National Education Policy 2020. So please remember that what was the last National Education Policy and what is now we are having after 2020. Okay, so more competency based question and fewer constructed response question. Okay, constructed response means that there will be a short answer, long answer, very long answer. Okay, and if you have actually studied that particular thing, there will be a straightforward question and you have to give an answer. In that case, what used to happen is that there was this practice of memorizing thing, or you can say this mugging up the things was prominent. Okay, so now we are trying to do away with that, and we are coming up with the more competency based question, more logical and rational question where student has to think about it. Okay, now competency focused question in the form of MCQs, case based question, source based integrated question. Okay, so basically there will be MCQs, there will be some case to case basis questions. Okay, or you can say case studies based question, and otherwise there will be source based question, but not these constructed questions which are having this particular format of, here you can see short answers, long answers, very long answers, like that. Okay, now the amount of question that will reduce, etc., but that is not important for us. Now to create an education system that would move away from the rote memorization. Okay, so now you have to think logically, and that is very good to actually impart a scientific temperament. Okay, this particular thing is mentioned in the our constitution as well. So you can say that that is a very good step wherein student has to think logically. They will be trained to think logically if implemented wisely. Okay, now I will be talking about this national education education policy 2020. Please go through the provisions of this particular policy, because this is the last, or you can say latest policy here. So please remember that. So for schools, what is happening, that earlier there was this 10+2 format. Okay, there was there are classes like from your nursery, KG and till 8th class. Okay, and after that there are 1st to 10, and then there will be 11th and 12th. Okay, so that is 10+2. Now when we are coming to the new system, that will be 5+3+3+4. Okay, so ultimately here what will happen is that there will be this early childhood care. Okay, so there will be a that foundational education for 5 years. Okay, and then 3 years of the preparatory education, and after that there will be 3 years of middle education, and then there will be a 4 year of secondary education. Okay, so ultimately this will be last 4 year will account as your 9th to 12th. These 3 years will be for 6 to, you can say 6 to 8, 6th, 7th and 8th, and then there will be 3 years that will be your 3rd, 4th and 5th, and these are 5 years, that is your 3 elementary years plus 1st and 2nd class. Okay, so please remember it like that. From the 3 foundational years, that will be nursery, KG or prep, and then 1st and 2nd, that will be your foundational years, and then 1st, 2nd and 3rd, 4th and 5th will be other than that. 6th, 7th and 8th will be in one segment, and then 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th will be in the last segment. Okay, so that is basically your education over here when we are talking about school education. And then there will be a college education, that will be, there will be a satellite program for your, you can say, common entrance test will be there for your colleges. And then there will be a degree of 4 years, bachelor's degree of 4 years, and no affiliation will be required. In a phased manner, what will happen, that the colleges will be given more autonomy. There will be no affiliation required from the university, or there won't be any deemed universities, okay, so deemed colleges, okay. And there will be a fee cap on the fee structure of the private institutions, okay. Now, other than that, here in the school learning there will be multi streams, okay, flexibility to choose subject across streams. There won't be any compartmentalization like earlier, that there is arts, then there is commerce, then there is science. So you cannot go across these compartments. But multi stream means that if a art student want to read physics, they can do it, okay. Then diluted boards will be there, multilingual education will be there. You can go for the medium of instructions can be different in the multi languages available. And when we are talking about the foundational education of the early years of the education, that can be in the mother tongue as well, okay. Then backless days will be there because of the pressure which is increasing on the kids. There are these backless days which has been introduced, okay. So I hope this is clear. Just go through this particular thing. Other than that, there are certain provisions which are related to your gross enrollment ratio, etc. So please revise your national education policy related provisions, okay. Now moving further here, so before Supreme Court there is this case which is saying that can state levy excise duty on the industrial alcohol. When we are talking about the consumption alcohol, or the alcohol for the consumption by human beings over there, so for such alcohol the excise duty is in the purview of states, okay. But when we are talking about the industrial alcohol, that is basically right now center are making rule, and there is some struggle going on between center and states, and ultimately this case has come to the Supreme Court, okay. We will see why this case has come to the Supreme Court. You don't have to go very much deep into the cases, but please know that what is the issue behind it, okay. Whenever we are talking about the power, or you can say if there is a dispute between the power of legislation among, you can say, states and center, you can simply say that that is a problem of Schedule 7, okay. We have a Schedule 7 which is talking about the separation of power, or you can say different, we have lists, okay. We have union list, then we have states list, then we have concurrent list. When we are talking about union list, exclusive power is given to union, okay, or the parliament. When we are talking about state list, the powers are given to the state assemblies. And then when we are talking about this concurrent list, power is given to both state as well as center. But the thing is, if there is an existing law by the center, then the center's law will prevail, okay. And other than that, if despite having a law by the center, state makes a law and get assent by the president, in that case that state law will prevail, okay. Now if there is a already existing law which for which state has got the assent by the president, but then the center has gone for a revision in the law, they have actually changed that particular provision, then again the center's law will apply, then this state again has to get the president's assent, okay. So that is the thing which is there in the static part. Please go through it. Earlier again, if we simply see, union list has given power to the center, state list has given power to the state assemblies, and when we are talking about concurrent list, both union as well as states has power in that particular list, but most of the time center will prevail over here, okay. And if there is a presidential assent by the states at that particular point of time, state law will still hold waters, okay. Now coming to this particular case, what is happening over here? So when we are talking about this alcohol, there are certain entries which are given in the concurrent list, one is given in union list, one is given in the state list. Let's see what is that, okay. Now before that, just see the you can say foundation of this particular issue. Excise duty levied on alcohol is a key component of state's revenue. Why both center and state want it? Because first of all, when we are talking about the state, that is a source of revenue, okay, and state also go for extra levy of such things because that can generate more revenues, okay. So that is one thing. This is a source of revenue for the states. States often adding additional excise duty on the alcohol consumption to drive its income up, okay. So that is one thing. Now however, when comes to industrial alcohol, do states has the power to regulate the tax in it or not? So that is the foundational question in that particular issue. Okay, what is the current case before the Supreme Court here? Whether the state government has power to regulate and control the sales, distribution, pricing and other factors related to industrial alcohol used as raw material to create other products. Okay, when we are talking about consumption alcohol, or you can say alcohol for consumption, you know that that is for people to drink. Okay, when we are talking about industrial alcohol acts as a raw material. Okay, so that can be used, you can say there are certain things which like spirit, okay, methanol, ethanol, these are also used, these are all industrial alcohols. Okay, these can act as a raw material. Okay, if we are talking about the blending, okay, petrol blending, now blending, for that ethanol is required. Now ethanol is an alcohol, and that alcohol is basically considered industrial alcohol whenever industry is buying it for, you can say, ethanol blending. Okay, so this is what industrial alcohol is. That now when we are talking about industry is a subject which is under the central entry, or you can say union list. Okay, so that is one thing, industry is with center. When we are talking about alcohol for consumption is with state. Okay, so now there is this tussle that who will make law. Okay, so this alcohol here, that is intoxicant alcohol, intoxications alcohol, which are in the state list. Okay, so that is what has led to this particular issue. Now coming here, entry 8 of the state list in the 7th schedule gives power to the legislature on to legislate on production, manufacture, possession, transport, purchase and sale of intoxicating liquors. Okay, intoxicating liquors they are talking about. Then at the same time, entry 52 of the union list and the entry 33 of the concurrent list, they are mentioning industries. Okay, so in that industry there are certain power given to the state, there are certain power which are exclusively for the center to decide. Okay, now there is a conflict between this entry 52, that is basically for center, and then there is entry 8 in the state list. Okay, so there is this conflict which is arising over here. Okay, now concurrent list legislate upon both state as well as legislated by the state as well as center. Where a center law exists, the state law cannot be repugnant to it. Industrial alcohol is listed in the Industries Development and Regulation Act, that is IDRA Act. Okay, so center has made a law regarding that. So central law will prevail over here. Okay, so that is very simple. Center has a law in that regard, and that law is valid because that was given in the entry 52 and 33, wherein center has the power to make a law regarding industries. So now this is thing. Now when we are talking about this particular issue, has Supreme Court has considered this issue earlier? So yes, in 1989 there was this case which is synthetic chemicals versus state of Uttar Pradesh. In that particular case, okay, state's power as per the entry 8 of the state were limited to regulating intoxicating liquors, which are different from the industrial liquors. So when we are talking about the entry 8, as I told you, there is this power which is given on the intoxicating liquors. So court here said that when we are talking about intoxicating liquor, that is basically related to your liquor for the human consumption. Okay, no doubt state has some power, okay, on this industrial liquor as well, but that is related to restriction on the consumption, not to generate revenue. Okay, so here they have said that this industrial alcohol is different from the intoxicating liquor. Okay, so state does not hold any taxation power on the industrial alcohol. Now Supreme Court acknowledged that the state's power to regulate consumable alcohol must include the power to prevent or check the industrial alcohol being used as a intoxicating or drinkable alcohol. If a person is using the industrial alcohol for drinking, now state has power to hold that person responsible or liable for drinking that or consuming that industrial alcohol. That is power of state. But the thing is, they cannot go for levying a tax. Okay, now here you can see, but the taxes and the levies in the questions were designated primarily to increase the revenue collected by the state, not as the measure to regulate the use of industrial alcohol. Now what is happening here is, when you are going for the taxation of industrial alcohol, you are not doing it for the prevention of consumption, you are doing it to generate revenue for that. Okay, so that is why here it is made clear that as per the entry 8, state does not have power to collect tax from that. Okay, so that is one thing which has been said in that particular case. Then there was another case, that is Tikaramji versus state of UP in 1956. In that particular judgment, court has given certain power to the state as well. So but then again, in that case it was held that they did not find any reference to this case, or you can say this case was not put in front of court at that point of time, and because of which the such judgment was come. Now again in 1999 this issue arises, okay, then issue comes to the court, and Allahabad High Court gives judgment again in that particular case. Then appeal is made to the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court says that earlier when we have given this particular judgment, we did not know about when we have given this particular judgment in Tikaram, we did not know about the synthetic chemical case. So now we are referring it to a higher bench. So that particular case was referred to a higher bench of 9 judges in 2010, and right now we are talking about this particular case, okay. So right now there is a confusion because this particular case that is Tika Ramji, which says something else, and this case here in that is synthetic chemicals versus state of Uttar Pradesh, that says something else, okay. So here what have the state argued so far? Now what state is saying, what state is referring in this particular case, and how they are putting their point. So state is saying that the phrase intoxicating liquor in entry 8 of the state list includes all liquor containing alcohol. Now state is saying that when we are talking about the intoxicating liquor, all alcohols are actually used in that. Now second thing is, now union's power under entry 52 of the union list does not include control over finished products, okay, such as industrial liquor after denaturation process, okay. So ultimately they are saying that when there is a particular finished process, let's say if a company is making spirits, okay, now spirit is a final product, now you have a right until it is a raw material, okay. When it is a finished product, you don't have a right. That is the argument of state. Now it is for the Supreme Court to decide whether it is like that or not. That is another case for us, but right now Supreme Court will be deciding on this particular matter. That is the argument by state. Other than that, one more thing was mentioned here by the council, state council, is that state are not mere appendages of center. The center cannot tamper with their powers. More particularly, the court should not adopt an approach or interpretation which has effect of or to tend to have effect of whittling down the powers which are reserved for the states. So basically here council has put an argument that now states, or you can say when we are talking about these states in the federal system, they are not below the centers, okay. So there are certain powers which are given by constitution to state, and center should not interfere with that power. And as a matter of fact, when we are talking about the courts should not go for an interpretation which is basically taking away the powers which are reserved by the constitution itself, okay. So you should not go for such interpretation which makes a, you can say, case wherein you are taking away the constitutional power of the state, okay. That will affect the federalism of India. So ultimately that is what certain arguments which has been provided by the state over here, okay. Now we can move further with the next article. Now there was this issue wherein model code of conduct has been in news again, okay. So here a day after West Bengal Governor CV Anand Bose released status report of a on universities, he asked the state government to remove education minister for allegedly violating the model code of conduct, okay. So basically in that particular event something happened, and they are saying that the education minister has violated the model code of conduct, okay. And now because of which this model code of conduct is in news, and the minister is saying that governor does not have such power. When we are talking about the model code of conduct, it kicks in just after the announcement of the election schedule, okay. Once it is kicked in, then there are certain things which you cannot do. There are certain policy decisions you cannot take. There are certain decisions which can impact, or you can say which can influence the opinion of the public in front for you, that you cannot do, okay. So that is the power of election commission. The election commission is the body which will decide, okay. They will decide, or they will make sure that model code of conduct is being you can say enforced or implemented, okay. So I will not go into this particular matter because this is little bit political in anger, but the thing is here the main issue is that whether governor has such power or not, okay. So now coming to this particular thing, the model code of conduct is a set of norms and principles to guide political parties and candidates during the elections, evolved with the consensus of the political parties to abide by the principle embodied in the said code, and also binds them to respect and observe it, okay. So basically what is happening here is that Model code of conduct, when we are talking about, it is the set of rules, norms or practices or principles which are guiding the behavior of political parties as well as the candidates which are individual. Okay, political parties candidate and the other candidates which are individual. Okay, these people or their behavior will be guided by this model code of conduct. Now how it came? It came by the consensus of the political parties. They have decided together and then they have come up with the model code of conduct. Now who is the authority, you can say who will observe the implementation? So ultimately when we are talking about elections, election commission is the authority here. The election commission ensures observation of the MCC by political parties in power and the contesting candidates for the conducting free and fair elections. Okay, so election commission is the authority over here under article that is 324 of the Indian Constitution. That is important for you. Okay, so there are three terms which are mentioned in the article 324 which are very famous. Okay, so I would want you to mention that in the comment or please remember that. Okay, now so ultimately election commission is the authority. Whenever something like this happened, like some event has happened and then there was model code of conduct if at all violated, so now political parties has to refer this particular issue to the election commission and election commission will take you can say action. In this case, what happens is the governor has said that, or governor has asked for the resignation by education minister over here. Okay, now the minister has to say that the power of it is not power of governor, it is for the election commission to decide. Second thing is resignation of a person or you can say a minister is on the advice of CM or the PM. Okay, they will advise and not the other way around. Governor will not advise the CM to go restigate this particular minister. Okay, so there is this issue of the power. Okay, that has been highlighted in this particular article. Now model code of conduct ensures that official machinery for the electoral purpose is not misused. Obviously when we are talking about the model code of conduct, there are different chapters. There is one chapter which is dedicated for the political party which is in power or you can say ruling party. So basically there are certain restrictions which are imposed on that ruling party, that they cannot utilize the state machinery for their own campaigning. If there is a event, you are going to attend that event or you can say that is a government event. So if you are going to, let's say, a particular city, let's say Mumbai, and there is this event, government event over there, and after that you cannot go for a political rally over there. Okay, these two events should be separated. So there are certain things that you cannot use state machinery, you cannot use any funds from the states. Okay, you cannot go for advertisement based on the state's fund, you cannot go for any kind of policy decisions which can influence the opinion of the people. Okay, or you cannot go for major decisions which are having some kind of financial impact, etc. So these are certain restrictions which are put on the ruling party. Okay, further, it also ensures that the electoral offences, malpractices and the corrupt practices are prevented by all means. Okay, model code of conduct is enforced from date of announcement of the election schedule by election commission and is operational till the process of election is completed. That is basically when results are announced. Okay, so basically what is that? You will announce the elections and at the same day or same time this model code of conduct will kick in, and then till the results are announced this will be there. Okay, now during the general elections to the Lok Sabha, the code is applicable throughout the country. During the general election to the legislative assembly of the state, the code is applicable in the entire state. Okay, during by elections the model code of conduct would be applicable in the area of concerned constituency, which is quite logical. So you don't have to give extra thought to this. So that is about model code of conduct. Okay, this was started from the Kerala State Assembly elections. They have come up with their own model code of conduct, and then in 1970s, even in general elections also we have gone for it. Then slowly you must have heard about the name T.N. Session. Okay, so he has come up with this revised model of mode of conduct, etc. And political parties are or the all stakeholders were also consulted with that. Okay, now moving further around the world. if you are going looking at this particular page, there is no recent development. Okay, when we are talking about this particular thing, Taiwan earthquake, which we have discussed yesterday, then when we are talking about this Israel related issue, is Israel, Hamas, Syria, Iran, these are right now war torn areas. You cannot remember everything, who has bombed whom, who has done what. Okay, so you don't have to go through remember all this dates etc. Just remember that what are the conflicts in the areas. Okay, so when we are talking about, there is a major conflict, that is Israel, Hamas. Okay, then there is the conflict of this Israel, Lebanon. Okay, other than that, recently there was Syria was in the news. Okay, then you must have heard about Houthi rebels. Okay, so these are certain things which you should have idea about, and other than that, you don't have to remember that who has bombed whom on the what date. Okay, that is not of any important. Okay, so I hope there is nothing much from this particular page for us to cover, so we can move to the next section, or you can say last section, that is your for your own read. There is some article. I will try to take these articles in the next class, or maybe they will be covered in some news on other programs by the Drishti IAS. Okay, so there is a 3D map of universe may open a window to dark energy. Now this is an you can say a development when we are talking about 3D maps etc. So they will open a window for the dark energy. Dark energy is a particular substance about which we don't know much about. Okay, so that is one thing. So there is one article related to it. If you are interested in science and tech, please go through this particular article. Then night launch of Agni Prime missile. So Agni Prime missiles has been tested. That test was successful. The range of the missile is about 1000 to 2000 kilometers. Okay, so that will give you an edge when we are talking about the defense technology. Here you can see a new generation nuclear capable ballistic missile Agni Prime has been successfully tested from the Abdul Kalam Island of Odisha coast. Please remember this name of the island. That is one is this Abdul Kalam Island in Odisha, and we must have discussed about the Sri Harikota etc. So please remember that name of Satish Dhawan Space Center. Okay, the Strategic Forces Command along with DARDO, that is the Defense Research and Development Organization, they have gone for this particular test, and it has a strike capacity of 1000 to 2000 kilometer, and it is witnessed by the defense of Chief of Defense Staff, that is General Anil Chauhan. Okay, so this is the name of our CDS right now. Okay, now Army inducted indigenous Akshtir system. Okay, so that Akshtir system has been developed by the army. They are they have started using it as well. It is for the control and the reporting system. It is basically a control and reporting system which is being used by the technology etc. The project Akshtir is to bolster its air defense capabilities. Okay, so just remember that it is a air defense and control system. Okay, we are actually using it right now, but not at a very vast pace. This particular project is relatively new, so we will be developing or having more developments in further, but just remember the name, that is Akshtir system. Okay, now there is this article which is for you to read, that is related to how to check your name in voters list and what to do when it is missing. Okay, if you are checking your electoral roll and if there is you did not find your name, then there are certain steps you can take that you have to read on your own. Okay, now last part, that is your practice question. Who is responsible for enforcing the model code of conduct during elections? A. Election Commission of India, B. Prime Minister's Office, C. State governments, D. non-governmental organizations or the NGOs. Okay, so I hope you can attempt this question now. We have already discussed about it, so attempt this question, answer in the comment box. With that, I would like to take your leave. If you have not subscribed the channel, please subscribe the channel. And one more announcement, there is this Target UPSC Prelims 2024 series which has already been started. There are some videos which has been uploaded which can be a booster for your examination, so please go and watch those videos and let us know how you like the series. Thank you. Have a nice day.